Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome to Championship Sunday at Major 4 in Columbus. OpTic Texas go in as favourites, but they will need to beat Los Angeles Thieves if they want to win it, and they more than likely will if Scump and FormaL's opinions are upheld. The Huke right now is playing like the best player in the game. FormaL relates him to aBeZy, very high praise indeed, but there's many other teams coming for the championship today. Very much enjoy to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, just got to briefly discuss that final series last night between the sublaners in Minnesota Rokkr. Rokkr, a good tournament on the whole in terms of where they placed. Top 6 in the end after losing in the first round to Thieves. They went down to losers. They got the job done against the teams they needed to beat. They obviously got a good win against Surge as well, and that puts them 20 points ahead of Vegas. Now, Boston are only 10 points further up the road than that, so there's an interesting battle to be had there. But Vegas, it ain't looking good for them, especially with how far and challenging their bracket is going into Major 5, but subliners took them down. I think always in these tournaments nowadays, you tend to go in feeling like there's a relatively optimistic potential that 3 teams will make it. So last Major, we thought, okay, OpTic, Toronto, and FaZe, as it was in the end, and then the 4th team you never really know. This time it was OpTic, Thieves, and FaZe that we thought going in would be favoured to get top 4. That's happened, and then there's always like another, not exactly a wild card, but you never really know who the 4th team's going to be. Is it going to be a subliners? I thought subliners had a good chance this weekend, but in fairness, they've beaten, I mean, they beat Vegas to get top 6, now they've beaten Rokkr, so not massively impressive victories, especially given how they got bodied by OpTic Texas, as we'll talk about here in a second. But, you know, it could have been Surge got top 4, could have been another team, but this time it's the subliners that get the job done, and all 4 teams here on Championship Sunday have made at least a grand finals so far this season. So maybe there's a level of consistency starting to come in here, but yeah, 3-1 in the end. Rokkr took the search and destroy. Fame had a great map, 13-2, but all the respawns went to subliners. Minnesota still have a lot to work on, a lot to improve. I don't think they're particularly good, especially in the respawns, but look, they made it work. They beat the teams that they needed to, and they capitalized on the Surge absolute collapse to make it through. But this series statistically was not particularly competitive. Look at these numbers overall. Skies with a 1.3, big bounce back from him, and Hydra as well, 1.25. And honestly, Hydra and, you know, like obviously aBeZy and Pred and Huke are playing like the best SMG players in the game right now. Hydra is almost a little bit under the radar, I think, just because subliners haven't placed that well lately, but Hydra's numbers are still ridiculous, and when they get top 4, all of a sudden people start talking about it again. So tweet your thoughts in the comment section below. Scrappy won't be particularly happy with their placing top 6. Rough stage, Mussy says. Obviously there was all the talk from Scrap about the online versus LAN thing. He was like, oh, I can't wait to get back to LAN. In fairness, top 6 starting in losers isn't the end of the world, but it's not great at all. They went down to FaZe. They had a chance against FaZe. FaZe, I think, gonna throw away the map for Hardpoint. They played in that series on Mikado, so they will feel like they had a better chance. Went up 3-1, I believe, in the final map as well before losing 5 straight because Simp decided to absolutely take over. This also from Attach, though. Watching the event didn't feel right. Can't wait to be back on stage competing again. Now, I do wonder, right, because with the Fame addition to the Minnesota Rokkr, I don't think they've looked any better or worse, really, than they did with Attach. The roles still don't make an awful lot of sense, so I wonder if Attach gets brought back in. Probably after a top 6 placing, they won't, but, you know, Attach is obviously looking to compete again next season. Will be more than likely the possibility, but I guess we'll have to wait and see about that. And also, Sib just gives some thoughts here. It's about results, not capabilities. Everyone is capable, only a few can execute, which is a little bit of an interesting tweet, just because we talked yesterday about Surge's collapse out of the tournament and how well, you know, Mack didn't really deliver in that final round. And, you know, it's an interesting tweet from Sib. Obviously, it could be entirely irrelevant to the Call of Duty discussion, but you wouldn't be surprised if internally they're having conversations about whether they want to make a change, just because this is effectively the final chance. I think you can make a change, but usually going into Major 5, there's a roster lock, and even if there isn't, do you want to make a change between Major 5 and Champs? Like, I doubt that's going to be the case. So this is kind of your chance now after Major 4 to make a change if they want to, and maybe he's saying that, you know, certain players have the capabilities, but they don't execute when it matters. So, you know, take that as you will, I suppose. Also, quickly from Arcitys, I thought was kind of unfortunate that Tyler tweeted to me, good luck today on Saturday, and he's like, I didn't even snip a Saturday one time this year. But what I will mention is just that it was confirmed, and thanks to Pronjel for looking on Spoonbill to find this, that indeed indeed Los Angeles Guerrillas has been removed a couple of days ago from Arcitys' bio, as we thought it might have done in yesterday's video. Before we go into the final day of the tournament then, these are the top and bottom 10 KDs. Clayster, he had a rough time. Temp, even despite dropping a 0.4 in a series, had a better KD than Clay. But yeah, Clay, Temp and Standy not having a particularly good time, nor TJ Halley. Funny in a way with, you know, the Seattle Surge, right? Max at a 0.84, Printed at 1.24. But yeah, Dashy still has the number one for now with a 1.33. Prid and Hydra, of course, right up here. Drazah, Envoy and Octane all appearing here. Kenny with a 0.9, but I think that'll probably improve today. We'll see though. Brack, Ghosty, I mean, honestly, the numbers here are pretty impressive. And even if you go further down, what you will find, which is a little bit surprising in a way, is that, you know, Slasher is outperforming Cellium so far. Obviously, there is an element for Cellium where if Slasher's getting kills, then he has less kills to get. But you don't often see it going into a championship Sunday with Cellium having only a 1.05 on land so far. So that maybe is slightly scary actually for the opposition, because Cellium hasn't been on fire so far this weekend. He's usually good for a 1.25 on land. So having a 1.05 after the first 3 days is interesting, because today might be the day where Cellium really steps it up. And maybe that's going to take Sasha to drop back a little bit, but whatever, right? If you're only getting a 1.05 for Cell, like, you can expect a bit more from him after that. And we'll see how that goes today. Just a clarification as well here from Jacob Ella, how the situation currently is. They eventually lost Minnesota to Rokkr, right? But Surge at 180, Boston at 160, Rokkr at 150, Vegas at 130. So, you know, it's still alive. But when you look at Vegas's run, they've got to play in Major 5. They play OpTic, they play Subliners, they play Surge. I think they play FaZe as well, and they play Rokkr. Obviously, the Rokkr series is a must-win for Vegas. If they were to win that, they would get 10 points back on Rokkr that they can't get themselves. And obviously, it's still going to be alive, technically, at the Major 5, because Vegas could go and win in Toronto and then take the 65 points, but that's kind of unlikely. So we'll see, right? It is interesting, the battle, though, for some of the seedings, especially when, even at the top end, it's difficult to say with FaZe and Toronto and OpTic up there, and, you know, obviously OpTic are making inroads on FaZe potentially today, so we'll see how it goes even for the number one seed race. But to take a big step towards that, OpTic will need to win today. I know there's been a lot of optimism from OpTic fans and just the team in general coming into this tourney. Scump said that he can't really see past them for this tournament. Rambo said the same thing, of course, having stepped away from their coaching department for various reasons over the past few months. Scump also hit a new record for a former or current Call of Duty player on Twitch. 35,000 subscribers, officially got past TP's record that he set in 2020 on the Warzone days. 35,000 and counting. Remarkable milestone, to be honest, but a very interesting couple of pieces here just to mention from Scump, and also FormaL stream last night. Scump saying that Huke, the way he's playing, especially in the start of the Search and Destroy, best player in the game candidate, and even FormaL gave him a lot of high praise as well, and said that effectively Huke right now is playing like the new aBeZy, which is, I mean, look, we know how good aBeZy is and how good he continues to be, and if Huke is like that for OpTic, then, I mean, look, it's a scary sign for the league.
One player down.
They're just chowing their
4v3 for OpTic Texas. Huke through double
Dude.
doors, just raining a Sunday again. Skies and Priest.
I might say Kyler's the best player in the game right now. No bull.
Say
it, man. Say it loudly.
I think Kyler's the best player in the game.
It's
He's
the
got an
ace
ace.
for Huke in round number 1.
Look how happy he is.
I think Kyler
Going off.
he had a 2.0 in search online.
Yeah.
He goes 35 in whatever first map. I think he's the best player in the game right now.
Divine wrath because
What is that?
done nothing.
Oh my god, they're not going to know he's here. He's about to get one.
He's in the door there, shielded himself completely from the grenade.
Dude.
Running through, long range. Sky.
He created that. He didn't have it in his back pocket.
Dude, Kyler is everything, bro. What the
Dude, I don't. He's like Captain America.
Dude, look at him insane.
He hasn't reloaded his
I think I'm gonna agree with you. I think he's the best player in the world.
I think he's the best player right now, bro.
It's insane. He's so consistent.
Dude, Kyler's just like another version of aBeZy, bro.
I think Kyler
Going off.
Dude, he had a 2.
When Kyler's on point, he's like playing with
He goes
aBeZy.
35 in whatever first
godlike.
map. I think he's the best player in the game right now.
Imagine like an aBeZy Shotzzy duo. That's pretty much what they have.
What is that?
You know what that
For the
is?
sub duo. Brandon's like super us, to be honest.
There has to be a win here.
I mean, if we start
They
drinking
have
wine.
to try.
He let him go for free. I mean, in Ricky's defense, like Kyler wasn't like doing too hot on an LEG, or like maybe he was, but I don't know.
Let's see
I think Kyler just like super upgraded with Shotzzy. He was aBeZy before aBeZy. That's kind of true.
Imagine.
I think that kind of switched once aBeZy like towards the end of BO4 when aBeZy like turned into aBeZy.
The 3-0 when you know you didn't like have to do pretty much anything. Well, not pretty much, but like we're not like not just,
Just like you're
not the primary. Yeah, you're not the primary. Why is there always a Kyler meme, bro?
He's so locked. Look at him, bro.
Kyler don't even look at me some days. Some days I get here, he don't even look at me, bro. He don't see me.
Nah.
He don't see me, bro. He's like, hey, yo, it's game time. Yo, Kyler will walk in the facility and be like, it's game time. Be like, I love this shit. And then for 6 hours straight, no eye contact. Just like that. I'm like, yo, I get so much of like,
he actually does that, I swear.
Bro, me and Kyler, after the first set, we shooting bots. We don't say anything. JP's like, yo, join up. They're all in here. It's just us two ripping bots.
Even that clip there, right, when Huke gets the ace and is just absolutely locked in. It's like, this guy, just his personality is so much fun sometimes to just witness when Huke is completely locked in, doesn't even move, just completely deadpan face, and dropping a 1.6 or so in yesterday's series. So I don't expect him to get a 1.6 again today. The competition's going to get harder and harder. Can he replicate that against a team like Thieves? It's tough to say, but generally Huke, when he plays in the big series against FaZe and against others, he does have a rather good time, and he's going to need to deliver that today, right? Can't stop, won't stop, say OpTic Texas yesterday, but a lot of high praise for Huke, but that's the thing. Thieves are firing probably on all cylinders. Kenny had a bit of a slow day yesterday, but in general, over the entirety of the stage, all of their players probably have, okay, Octane's probably higher, but their players all have like 1.05s, I would imagine. I reckon it's a similar stage so far for Thieves. I just went to look it up here, actually, and it's better than I even thought. So Kenny, let's just say Hardpoint is averaging a 1.07 so far this stage, including the major, a 1.13 for Drazah, a 1.23 for Octane, 1.19 for Envoy. It's similar numbers, honestly, across averages at least on the other game modes as well. So they're looking deadly, it's got to be said. OpTic, though, different beast right now. But I think we knew coming into this tourney, Thieves would be the real test on land for OpTic Texas. And also, you've got to think for Thieves, they won the World Championship last year. There's never been a team in Call of Duty history that's ever won a World Championship at the end of a season. It happens back in like Black Ops 2 and Ghost because they used to do the World Championship in April to advertise the new DLC. But ever since the World Championship has been at the end of a season, starting in 2016 with Black Ops 3's World Championship at COD XP for $2 million, that team that won it has never ever won another event again as a quartet. That's not won another World Championship, that's won another event. It's never happened. And Thieves are the most likely team, I would say, in very recent memory to do that. Of course, FaZe you'd have thought would have done it in Vanguard, but they didn't after winning the World Championship in Cold War. So this is the chance today for Thieves and Drazah and co to actually prove that the Champs Curse either doesn't exist. And maybe the Champs Curse exists in terms of winning Champs again, but in terms of winning another event, they certainly look capable right now, and they will have a great chance to do exactly that today. They're certainly second favourites behind OpTic Texas. And kind of funny in a way, the timing of this, it's been around 5 years since the OpTic dynasty, of course, of Crim, Karma, FormaL, and Scump played together for the final time back at CWL Seattle 2018. Of course, a legendary team, that dynasty. And it's around about 5 years later that OpTic have been able to put together a team yet again that really does look like a world beater on a consistent basis. This then is the bracket going into the Championship Sunday. 4 teams remain: OpTic, Thieves in winners, FaZe, subliners in losers, and this is the schedule. So again, it's the winners game first, OpTic versus Thieves, kicking us off at 1:30 Eastern. Absolute banger, right? I don't know how to call these series. I know that OpTic are favourites for this tournament. Part of me feels like if it goes all the way to a Grand Finals Game 7, Thieves might find a way to get it done, but it's tough to look past OpTic right now, and I think they'll take this first series at least. FaZe, I would have them beating subliners. Subliners are good, and they can beat FaZe. I mean, they did it online 3-2 in Game 5. This time, though, I think FaZe are going to get the job done. I can see a Game 5 on the cards here, though, but subliners need to turn up their search and destroy a little bit more. Then in my bracket, I've got FaZe versus Thieves rematch. I just think that FaZe top 3, Thieves top 2, OpTic top 1 is the sensible prediction today. Anything, though, I think can happen in the Grand Finals there. If it comes down to a Grand Finals, a couple of controls in there as well. That's the thing, a best of 7. There's 2 controls in there, and Thieves in the control are definitely very competitive with OpTic. We will be seeing an Expo control, I believe, in that circumstance. So, you know, that's when things get very interesting indeed. So in a best of 7, I think Thieves actually have a better chance than they do in a best of 5. So I'll take OpTic to win the first one, and then Thieves OpTic in the Grand Finals. If that happens, the viewership, I'm sure, is going to be absolutely immense. And hoping for a good day of action. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.